At the age of 54 and 2 divorces later, let me give you the marriage advice I wish that I had listened to.
I remember when I got divorced, one of the most common things that people said to me was like, just
Divorced women are speaking out. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Sessa and you're welcome to Sessa Spill. Today we're speaking about the divorced women and what they've learned pro marriage, before marriage, after marriage. They're out here spilling everything you need to know. And I'm here for this because sometimes you need to hear these things so you're just prepared. You know what I mean? Your heart is ready. I'm not saying it's good to go into marriage, preparing to get divorced, but you could learn a thing or two as a single woman, as a married woman, as a woman who is already divorced. You know what I mean? Anyway, you guys, let's go listen to what they have to say, and I'll be back.
70% of divorces are initiated by women. And as a divorce lawyer, I can tell you that women are not divorcing men because they're bored or ungrateful. They're divorcing because they're tired of doing everything. In marriages where both partners are college educated, that number actually jumps to 90%. But why? What is making these women walk away in such high numbers? Well, the answer is simple. Women are expected to work like they have no children and parent like they have no job. They're expected to be the emotional support system, the household manager, the one who remembers birthdays, doctor's appointments, and what shoe size the children wear. Meanwhile, many men still believe that just providing a paycheck is enough, but it's not. Women are not leaving because they hate marriage. They're leaving because they're exhausted. They're tired of doing all the invisible labor that no one acknowledges. They're tired of being expected to handle everything while their husband thinks he's helping when he loads the dishwasher once a week. Most women do not leave for another man. They leave for themselves. They leave because they refuse to live another decade feeling like a single mother while being married.
So I see women on this app like crashing out because of how horrible like their ex-husbands are, their baby dads are, just like ruining their life and just, making their life so difficult. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so horrible what those women are going through. And now I'm one of them. I filed for divorce 2 months ago. I've been trying to look for an apartment, and the places that I'm looking at, I need to make 3 times the rent to be able to rent them. And unfortunately, with my job, I'm a CNA. I don't make 3 times the rent. So I need a child support order to be able to add to my income so I can meet the requirement. And I've been trying to get into some sort of settlement with my soon-to-be ex-husband on that. And basically, he is blackmailing me, I guess. He wants me to sign away all rights I have to his military retirement. He is in the Army. He has been in for 18 years. He'll be retiring in 2 years. And I've been married to him the entire time. So the retirement's a marital asset. So I am entitled to part of it. We've been going back and forth and fighting about it, and I just can't take it anymore. I just want to leave. I just want to move out, and I just want to start my life over. So I offer to sign away my right to the military retirement in return for spousal support and the entirety of the savings account that we have. I send the proposal to my lawyer and tell her this is what I'm proposing to do. And she comes back and says, well, this is a bad idea. And then she says, well, you could get a temporary order from the court for the child support, but that's going to cost you $4,000 in legal fees, and it may not be binding because it's only temporary, so you may not even be able to use that to really add to your income. And she goes into this long thing, which I appreciate. I appreciate her telling me the legal stuff, because she's basically telling me you are an idiot to sign this away. And she does all the numbers, and the numbers don't make any sense. Basically, I'm giving away more to get less. She's basically trying to persuade me to kind of wait this out till the final order happens because it will go in my favor if I can just wait it out. But I can't wait it out because I have to stay in the house with this person. Yesterday, he called me the nanny. He said that I'm going to pay you child support and you're just going to be the nanny for my kids. When I told him, I need to try and stay in the district so our kids can keep going to their school. And the neighborhood that we're in is a little bit more expensive. So I need the child support order. And he said, it's not my problem. It's not my problem that you can't afford a place for them to live. In fact, I hope that's how it plays out. Because I want the kids to see that you can't support them. I want the kids to see that you can't afford for them to live in a nice place. And I want them to know that they're going to have to go through a hardship because of what you did. Your pressure campaign that he's been putting me under for the last 2 months since I filed is an effort, is really him trying to get me to drop the whole thing. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe he just wants me to drop the whole thing. If I went to him and I said, okay, I'm just going to drop the divorce, got rid of my lawyer and then didn't do anything, I think he'd drop his lawyer and we would just go about life like before. I honestly believe that. I just think he doesn't want to not be married anymore to me. Not because he loves me or anything like that, but just because this is a big inconvenience to him. It's a big inconvenience, and he has to do all of these things he doesn't want to do, and all he wants to really do is just go to work, come home, play video games, watch some corn, and nap. And I'm disrupting all of his plans with my annoying, irritating divorce. This is very long, but I'm hoping that a woman's going to see me, see what I'm going through, and say to yourself, I don't want to go through that. And it could easily be me, because it could easily be you. I am not special. I am not special or unique. I'm just a woman. I'm just a woman with 2 kids. What could happen to you too?
Hands down, favorite part about being divorced? There is never an angry man inside my house. Never. I never wake up to a grumpy man in my house. I never come home to an angry man in my house. There are just no angry men in this house. And I'm never giving that up.
One of the most interesting parts about getting divorced young is that all of a sudden, all of these people that you thought were happily married start coming out of the woodwork, and they're like, hey, how did you know it was time? Hey, what was your breaking point? Hey, what advice would you give me? And I love that. It's like all of a sudden, all of the secrets and like the weird pretending that you're happy falls aside, and fucking love that. Yes, come to me. I will be your emotional support divorce doula anytime you need.
I remember when I got divorced, one of the most common things that people said to me was like, just remember that Allah's promise is that he doesn't remove anything from you without replacing it with something better. And you know, I noticed that we have this very dunya-centered understanding of that idea that whatever Allah removes from you, he'll replace with something better. So that means that if you lost your spouse, that Allah is going to replace it with a better spouse. But what if the better that Allah replaced it with is simply the absence of that thing? If the absence of that thing drew you closer to Allah, better. If the absence of that thing opened a gate for Jannah to you, infinitely better. We really have to find opportunities to practice gratitude and really embrace all of the better that Allah has given us, even in the face of loss and hardship. And that was a really difficult part for my healing journey, because originally I was really caught up in that one-to-one dunya-centered understanding, right? That like, unless Allah gives me a better spouse, then I'm not in his good favor. But I am in his good favor because he chose me to experience a loss that drew him closer to him. And what better act of love is there than that? SubhanAllah. So his promise never fails. But we just have to think outside of the box in terms of what we expect that promise to look like.
How you know when it's time to get a divorce? Remember the feeling of trying to make this decision like it was yesterday. I remember sitting there, I was in my front room, and I was watching Mel Robbins on YouTube. And it was crazy because that day, her video that came out was, should I stay for my kids? I'm not saying that I took that video as like, oh, that was my answer, I'm supposed to get a divorce. No. That video made me realize that I was basing all of my decisions on staying out of fear. I knew in my heart that it was the right thing to do, but I was terrified. I was afraid of losing friends. I was afraid of losing my ex-husband's family, losing his friendship. I was afraid of how I was going to provide for my kids. I was going to affect them, how it was going to hurt them. I was afraid of meeting somebody ever again. I was afraid of being alone. I was afraid of letting go of what was making me secure. The truth is, no one can ever tell you if it's the right time for you to get a divorce. That decision comes from you and knowing in your heart what is right. That's not to say that the decision wasn't hard and it didn't hurt like hell, because it did. No matter what you do, it's gonna be hard. Whether you stay and work on your marriage, that's hard. Or you leave and you get a divorce and you have to start over, that's hard. You choose your hard. Trust yourself and make the decision out of love and not fear, and you'll do the right thing. You're gonna be okay. And I believe in you. You got this. You can do hard things. Have a great day.
I knew that my marriage was over when I knew I wanted and needed intimacy and connection. All the things I always wanted from my ex-husband. But I didn't want those things from him anymore. That's when I knew. That's when I knew that it was really over. Has anyone ever felt that way? Like you still want the things that make you content and feel yummy in a relationship, but you just don't want it from that person anymore. That really sucks when you realize that, because then it's just over.
10 signs you're in a silent divorce, whether you realize it or not. Let's talk about it. Because some of y'all think y'all just in a rough patch, but truth is the relationship checked out a long time ago. So here's what silent divorce really looks like. Save this so you can come back to it for later. Number 1, y'all live in the same house, but y'all feel like strangers. Number 2, conversations are dry or always surface level. Number 3, there is no physical touch, no hugs, no kisses, no spark. Number 4, you stop making plans together. Y'all be doing your own things. Number 5, you don't even argue anymore, but not because things are peaceful. It's because y'all have both given up. Number 6, you feel more alone with them than when you were actually with them. Number 7, they stop being your safe space. You'd rather vent to anyone else. Number 8, you start imagining life without them, and it feels like a relief. Whew, that one hit home right there. Number 9, there is no effort. No, how was your day? No checking in or just, just silence. Number 10, and deep down, something died between y'all, but neither of you has the energy to call it out. If this hit you in the chest, you're not crazy. You're not asking for too much. You're just waking up to the truth. And if you're starting to question what love is supposed to feel like, I made something just for you. It's a free checklist called 7 Truths Your Big Sis Wishes You Knew About Love. And it's raw, it's honest, and it might shift everything for you. Check it out in my bio. Go grab it.
I recently announced that I'm no longer married and that I am officially a single mom, and you guys had a lot of juicy questions, so let's get right into it. First of all, I do want to say that I genuinely do not condone divorce. I believe we were created in pairs, but it's exactly that. We were created in pairs, and it has to be a team effort. I definitely believe that marriages should be till death do us part, but not when people want two completely different things. And the first question that I got asked is, when do I know it's time to stop giving my husband chances? Honestly, women give way too many chances, and I believe that if a man makes you question your self-worth, then he is definitely not the one for you. Your life partner should give you peace and happiness. They should be your safe space, and you should never question your worth around them. I think it's important to ask yourself, when you think about life with him and without him, what genuinely feels better? And I mean emotionally and spiritually. Because remember, us women are very emotionally driven. And if our partners can't protect that sacred quality of ours, then it's our job to do so and to walk away from things that damage that. And like, I promise you, this is no tea, no shade. This just means that two people were not meant to be together, and that's okay. I think it's very important to ask yourself what will bring you closer to your faith. And you really have to think long term. You have to think, first of all, have you really tried? Have you really tried to make it work? And have you been giving it your all? And does it still not feel right? Etc. I think when you've really given it your all and nothing is changing, especially when both of you are on the same page, like if you are so passionate about wanting one thing, and if he is so passionate about wanting one thing, and you guys literally cannot come to terms with it, then maybe you guys are just not meant to be together. But again, divorce should be the absolute last resort, always. Unless there's abuse and stuff, then okay, like.
Listen, I have crashed out enough for the both of us, so let me save you the crash out. I was married at 27, and by the time I was 29, I filed for divorce. Here are the top 3 things that I wish somebody would have set me down and said before I even accepted an engagement, and maybe it'll save you some heartache and pain. The mental health, the beliefs, the morals, the character, of your spouse's family matters just as much as theirs, especially immediate family like mom, dad, brothers, sisters, because those are the people who you are going to be around the most. And if your morals, if your beliefs, if your mental health does not align with theirs, you're going to experience conflict. When you come in as a person challenging someone's patterns and family cycles, you are most likely going to be perceived as the enemy, especially if your spouse does not have your back. Number 2, if they make a lot of money, but they don't ever have money, that is a red flag. If they are pulling money out of retirement and out of savings to uphold a lifestyle, run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Because if somebody is justifying that they should have nice things, but your bills are not paid, you're going to have a problem. Because when bills are not paid, that is additional stress. And you have to decide, do you want to marry someone who is willing to put you in financial strain for the sake of them having something they simply cannot afford? Are you willing to clean up someone else's financial messes? And number 3, this can be applied to all aspects of your life, not just relationships. But if something feels off, then it is off. Don't you ignore it. Don't try to overlook it. Don't try to make excuses for it. If it ain't right, it ain't right. One of the biggest past regrets that I have, but the most amazing life lesson that I learned, is that struggling in silence kept me bound to someone who I should not have been with. Struggling in silence had me thinking I was crazy. Meanwhile, the only person who was giving me advice was the same person who was hurting me. The Bible says a fool is right in his own mind, but a wise man listens to advice. You have to talk to your family and friends about what you are going through and choose them wisely. Look for people who will give you sound advice. Look for people who will give you the hard, hurtful truth, but not talk about you behind your back. You need somebody to sit you down and keep it real with you. But you can't tell everybody what you're going through, because then the whole block will know. You are not the first person who has found themselves in a horrible relationship where years down the line you feel completely duped by somebody. And most of all, ask God to give you a sign, and He will do it immediately.
So while I was going through a divorce at the age of 31, I was always looking for videos of people going through similar situations, and I could not really find any. So this is my experience, and this is what I learned throughout the process. So age, 31, everyone my age was getting married, newly married, just having kids, first birthdays. I was going through a crisis. Everyone was in the blissful time of their life. So no one could really help me in that area, or everyone who has gone through a divorce. It happened so long ago that they remember the process, but they weren't, too familiar what people do now. So I remember Googling it and literally typing in, what do I do next? Obviously call a lawyer. You have to get a retainer and go from there. So the legal process for me was about a year. And basically, while that's quick for a divorce, for me, it felt like forever. I'm the type of person where I just wanted to, all right, I moved on. I want this done. I want the papers signed. Let's go. It felt like forever. I would call them and they'd be like, yeah, no, we'll get back to you. And every time I would call, I'd have a list of questions and try to rapid fire, because that every conversation, I just saw the minutes going up and I knew it was going to cost me another 100 and another 100. And most of the time I would get off the phone, have no idea what they said, because I rapid fired questions. They rapid fired answers. I got off the phone. My mom would say, oh, so what did the lawyer say? And I'd be like, they said they'll call me back. And another 2 weeks would go by, and, one party to another party, you have to wait for their response, and it felt like forever. So just be patient with it. I know it's really hard, but for me, that was really stressful. Another thing was the rumors. You're going to hear rumors about yourself. They're kind of funny, some of them, and why it happened. People come out of the woodwork for the tea. They want to know everything. People you haven't talked to in 10 years. It's like, hey, girlfriend, what you speculated. Yep, it's true. It's over. It's true. But people do come out of the woodwork, good and bad. And you'd be surprised how many people came out of the woodwork messaging me, asking, how did I know it was over? And how I'm feeling and what should they do. And it's kind of like I became this leader of the cult I never asked to be a part of or the leader of. And You have like a community that like really supports you and people that like will rally for you. And then you have certain individuals that don't support your decision, and that's okay. It reflects what I've learned, their own relationship. And sometimes people, when you make change in your life, they reflect on themselves and they don't like what they see. And for them, that's like really hard to see somebody like move on and be happy. It was hard for me, the struggling of friends that I lost. Obviously, they're not my friends. People choose sides naturally, but that was really difficult. I'm a girl's girl, I'm a people person, and losing certain individuals. I mean, now it's fine. I don't need you in my life, but then that was super hard for me, and no one really prepared me for that. And I just remember being like, I don't understand. I didn't do anything to them. Like, this is my decision in my life, but it doesn't matter. People are going to feel some sort of way, and you just have to let them be. So the best advice I was given was from a therapist. She told me that your old life and your new life are not the same, that you have to mourn your old life like a death. And I didn't understand it at first. I was like, no one died here, but no one physically died, but your old life is kind of dead. It's not what it is anymore. The people, friends, family, pets, house, income, it's not the same, and it won't be the same going forward, but it could be better. And once I was like, my life could be better than I ever thought it would be. That's the best advice I ever heard. And it really helped me in like my whole healing process, and like really trying to like figure out my new life and what I wanted for myself and how I got there. And for me, that was like the biggest takeaway from everything. And another thing was, no one is you. No one can tell you how to heal or what's right for you. You have to know in your heart. And sometimes you don't know all the answers and you look to other people for them, but you have to just go with your gut. And when you're on the other side of it, I am telling you, you'll see, and it'll be so much better. And there's one thing that I keep saying over and over again, that grief and gratitude can coexist. You can still mourn your old life and, you know, what you thought, but you could also be really thankful for what you have and the future. And for me, that was huge. I love to think about like all the things to come and all the things I maybe couldn't have done if I was back in my old life. And now that I have a new one and a new outlook and new perspective and a new like chance at everything, to me, it's the biggest takeaway. And you will be happy again. I promise you, you need to give yourself grace and time. And on the really hard days, you have to just be thankful for the little things and realize that tomorrow the sun will rise and it'll be a better day and you're going to be okay. So I hope this helped, because I wish I had something small, little bits of advice while I was going through everything, especially from 31-year-olds. While everyone's life may seem, you know, great and you're stuck, you're not, and you're going to be okay.
Switch up on you.
I'm almost 28 and divorced, and this is what I wish I knew. First of all, I don't think that anyone should be getting married before 27. I don't think that anyone's personalities or identities or frontal lobes are developed until then anyway. So I said what I said. Don't do it. I also don't think that men are psychologically ready for marriage until like their mid-30s, probably well into their 40s if I'm completely honest. So it's just insane to me that anyone would agree to marry a man in their 20s. That's neurotic to me. I've met men in their 20s. I wouldn't do it. I also highly discourage changing your name legally. I changed mine socially, so I went by my husband's last name out in society and on social media and on my LinkedIn and my website and all of that, Christmas cards, but I never actually changed it legally. I fully intended to at the beginning, but just never went through with the paperwork. And then once it came around time for separation and divorce, I was really grateful that I never did that. This is the biggest thing I tell young girls especially, is that there doesn't need to be like this big dramatic reason to leave. And this, I guess, applies to marriages and just regular relationships as well. But like, you don't need that big dramatic reason to leave. If you're unhappy or no longer aligned with the relationship or the person you're in the relationship with, like, just go. Flip the table. Reinventing your entire identity and starting an entirely new life is way easier than staying in a life you hate or are not aligned with for the rest of your life. And lastly, particularly for women, you have to make sure that you're protecting yourself, especially financially. So make sure that you have access to money that is yours and yours alone. Make sure that if you're walking into a situation where you're not working, you have some sort of legal protections for that. If you're giving up your entire career, make sure you're protected. That will look different for everyone, but I know not everyone walks into a marriage thinking of the end, but you should, frankly. Way too many people get married because they're super in love and they want a wedding, and that's frankly not the purpose of marriage. Marriages are business decisions. So, hate to burst your bubble, but you're gonna learn one way or another.
We are definitely waking up, because when I got engaged, my aunt pulled me to the side after meeting my husband, and she said to me, "Do not get pregnant your first year of marriage." And she said it in such a serious way, I'll never forget it. And I feel like a lot of women don't listen to older women because they think that they're bitter or they're jealous or they're haters, but no, they've been through things and they're trying to save you from a lifetime of pain. And when I ended my marriage very abruptly after getting married, I was able to leave without kids.
At the age of 54 and 2 divorces later, let me give you the marriage advice I wish that I had listened to. Love is not enough. Marry for character, not just chemistry. You're not just marrying them, you're marrying their habits, their debt, and their family drama. Marriage will never fix loneliness. The wrong person will make it worse. You can't marry potential. You're not a life coach, you're a spouse. Being alone is way better than wishing you were. The right person will make you feel safe. The wrong one will make you feel small. We'll figure it out is not a financial plan. Some people don't want love. They want control. Learn the difference. You should be excited to marry them, not just relieved that they finally committed. Be prepared to marry the whole family. Period. Hope that helps.
I know that divorce comes with a lot of eye-opening and lessons, right? But I do wonder, why do some women end up making the same mistake in their second marriage, still ending up with, the wrong individual? Why didn't they implement some of the things that they saw that were wrong into the second marriage? Why don't they do that? I just feel like with this men, you never know. And getting a good man who will be good to you till the end of the day, I mean, it's just grace, it's just chance, pure luck, or the person has just determined or decided that this is the kind of person they want to be. They want to be faithful men. They want to be men who understand, men who are willing to work it out, men who are willing to, trash out the issues, submit to you in as much as you're submitting yourselves to them. I mean, that is what I just think, because I just feel like with men, you just never know. I don't think sometimes you might just be the perfect man, the perfect wife. You're playing your role, and you have a bad man, a wicked man, a mean man, a selfish individual as a partner. I mean, what can you do? Will you stay? Anyway, you guys, what are your thoughts concerning what these women have said? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now.